Namaste all. My name is Kumar Subham and I have 3 small questions for all of you. Will you with me? I request you all to raise your right hand and put it on your chest. And I have 3 small questions that I request you to answer only to yourself, to nobody else. Only to yourself, to the truth of your heart. 3 very simple questions. Do you feel you are smart? Option A, yes, reasonably. Option B, not sure. Option C, no. Question 2. What problems excite you? Option A, simple and straightforward problems. Option B, complex and challenging problems. And option C, no problems at all. And third question. What do you think is the most challenging problem to solve? Option A, more ad clicks, ensuring people click more ads. Problem 2, ensuring people get deliveries faster. Option C, investing others' money. And option D, India's poverty. As a 15-year-old, I went to one of my professors and he asked me these 3 exact questions. It was 15 years ago. I was a small, young, bright-eyed, big-eyed teenager, just reached Delhi from a small town in Giridih, Jharkhand. I was seeing a big city for the first time. It was exciting. The big towers, the flat roads. It was exciting and enriching. And I went to my professor and asked him a very, very simple question. Sir, how do I decide which career to pursue? And in response to this one single question, he asked me these 3 exact questions. Though I like the sequence and I like these questions in themselves, it also said some things in me which I did not understand at that time. So I went back, reflected on it, and it set me on a path to ask more questions. In the next few weeks, months, and years, I went around asking this simple question to people. I went to my seniors at that time who were working in PSUs, to people who were running their own enterprises, people who were working in multinationals, to people who were working as an architect, to people who were doctors, people who were lawyers, and I went everyone I could reach out to, from my family circles to circles who my friends know, to my friends' parents, to all my alums. I remember sending hundreds of LinkedIn messages asking people, what do you do? And as a young kid, I was fascinated by their responses. It was big, wide, the world opened up for me. And it was very, very exciting. And yet, after just a few months, I noticed a pattern. Most people who were answering to me were not happy about their careers. It's not like they were unhappy people. They were very, very happy people. But they were just unhappy with their jobs. And they were seeking happiness in other forms of their life. They were happy with their families. They were happy in their vacations. They were happy what they do in their evenings. Just that they were not finding happiness in what they do in their work. And they had kept other options open for finding their own happiness. It surprised that teenager in me. It surprised how the time that we spent so much at work, more than the time we spend with our families, is not giving such a simple thing as happiness or joy. It was painful. It was painful to see why something that is so fundamental to human existence we're unable to find in our own work. So I changed my question and I changed it to, why do you do what do you do? And I again received a variety of responses. As a curious kid, I loved asking this question and I got a big range of answers. People mentioned, I'm doing this because this is what my friends are doing. I'm doing this because I'm seeking satisfaction. I'm doing this because I'm seeking passion. I am seeking ambition. I'm seeking a legacy. I'm creating security. I'm seeking money. I'm seeking impact. I'm seeking just plain circumstances. And yet, there was a pattern. Some of these answers were disappointing to me, while some actually ignited some little spark. I went and pursued those answers. I asked them, why do you do what do you do? And then asked a series of questions. What led you on this path? How are you enjoying it? How do you maintain your family? How did you convince your parents? And a variety of that. And that led me on a journey. A journey which I have thoroughly enjoyed in the last 10 years. In this journey, I got to travel. I traveled to 250 plus districts of India and lived in them. From the far east of Arunachal to the far west of Kutch, from Kashmir in the north to Kerala in the south, and I was able to work with a wide range of people. From the President of India to cabinet ministers, from people working at the grassroots to representing India on world stage, and I was able to get this done just by the guidance of the mentors I received by asking this question, why do you do what do you do? And not just this, I also got to serve. I worked at the grassroots, served people in disasters. I was able to work with tribals, work with farmers, clean beaches, and also was able to deepen my own bond with my family, my own sweet relationship with my family, and also found my wife on the journey, who now acts as my biggest supporter and biggest critique, both packed into one. And I went through this journey, I realized that I am extremely delighted. My life feels purposeful. I wake up every day and I found out that there are certain ingredients that I define this life as. The first ingredient is that I find joy in my work. Every single day of the last 10 years, I have woken up being excited to go to work. I have really found value in what I am doing. I have also created a lot of meaningful connections. People whom I like, people who guide me, people who support me, people who are friends to me, people who are critiques of me. But they are there with me and draw a lot of meaningful connections. People I love and adore. I was able to find a good integration between work and life. I agree when someone says that work-life balance is an alien concept, because it is alien. How can you balance something that is within a subset and balance it with the whole? I find my work integrated with my life. I talk about my work to my wife and my wife does the same to me. I can talk about my work to my parents and my parents do the same to me. My work and life are not two distinct elements, but they are well integrated into one. And the most beautiful of all, I found myself anchored. Disturbances did not matter so much to me. When the sea was not smooth, when the weather was not smooth, my ship sailed perfectly. I found an anchor in my life, in my purpose. And today I'm going to share the same steps that I followed in order to find my little spark. Spark, which broadly expands to setting your needs, pursuing happiness, acting for opportunity, reflecting, and keeping patience. The first step of finding my needs started in my first year when one of my professors asked me to note down what my needs are. And he asked us to imagine in future, not the present. Not as students, but people when you're married and have kids and have a family. And he asked us to write down how much do you think you will spend for groceries, how much you want to spend for travel, how much you want to support your family, what kind of lifestyle you want, and write down every single need of yours. And when I wrote it down, I felt extremely empowered. Because suddenly I realized I have much more things that I can do because my needs are so low. And I felt free. And that's the first step of finding a purposeful career. Finding your own spark is realizing your needs are actually not so big to put you in chains of the career that may be given to you or handed over to you. The second step of finding your spark, your purposeful career, is to pursue happiness. Try and meet happy people. You see them around. You see people who are happy, genuinely, internally delighted in life. You go and meet them. You ask them what makes you happy. Ask them about their own life journeys. This is the lock which opens with the first key. This sets you into directions that these are the possible paths in front of me. Amongst the available ones, and maybe you will create a new one. But it starts with knowing the others' paths. The third step of finding your spark is to act for opportunity. Most often, purposeful careers don't come knocking on doors. They are pricey and they are choosy. You have to chase them. So you have to meet people whom you find happy and ask them, oh, I know this. Can this skill be any way useful to you? Oh, I have 3 hours per day. Can I work with you in any way? Not seeking positions, not seeking legacy, but just the pure fun of deciding to act with them. Walking a few steps, few miles with them. And the fourth step is to ask yourself this basic question. Suppose I had every single resource in this world. What would I do? Would I still be working here or doing something else? What this else would be? Defining that for you. It's not that you will reach there on day 2. But can you identify one step that you can take that takes you one step closer to that direction? That takes you towards a direction that takes you closer to that state, towards finding your spark. And the last step is to keep patience. I remember when I was a child in Giridih, Jharkhand, we had just shifted homes and we came to a new home, and there was a small gallery just near the door in which we could plant something. And I asked my father, I need a plant. This happy, enthusiastic kid was asking for a plant, and my papa said, okay, I will get you one. And I was happy. The next day I reminded him again, and there was no plant. He again said, I will get it tomorrow. He was busy shifting homes, And the third day I was no longer the enthusiastic kid, I was the irritated kid. Asking it again and again, when will you get me a plant? And he was having his dinner, and he passed me a small seed, a gram seed, chana as we call in Hindi. And he said, go put it in the soil. I said, I'm asking for a plant. And he said, a plant will come out of this. I rubbished that. How can a plant this big come out of that small thing? Yet, I had no other choice. I did not have a plant, I just had a seed. So I put it inside the soil. And I remember waiting my whole day, looking at the plant magically appear. It did not. The next day I again went and complained that there is no plant. And he said, wait for a few days. I again waited. I waited for a few days for the plant to come in. And again, 2 days later, there was no plant. So I went to my father and said, there is no plant. And he said, there are roots coming in below it. And after a few days, the plant will appear. And I said, but there are no roots also. He said, you can't see them, they are below the soil. Well, no, I can see them, I bring it out every single day. And my father just smiled like all of you. I learned that meaningful things take time. Perhaps not in weeks or days as the plant would take, but perhaps in years. Finding your spark takes that courage. Takes that patience that I will wait for a few years because this is worth living life for. Will you not wait a few years to find something that gives you a purpose to wake up every single day? That's finding your own purpose. That's finding your own purposeful career. Are you ready to find your spark with me? And not just that spark which takes us everywhere, but the purpose of life, not just to pursue happiness as I was doing, because a single vanilla scoop of ice cream will give you that, but to something much more meaningful which lasts much longer. Something which is capable of making a difference. Not just now, but in the future. Are you ready to find that spark? Thank you.